Mr. Holyoke.
Mr. Marsh, how are you?
How you going?
I'm well, thank you. Yourself?
Did you hurt your arm? Hey, I thought you hurt your arm.
Yeah.
Hey?
Yeah.
What'd you do? Fall off a bike? Hey? Did you
What's
fall off
that?
a bike? Did you fall off a bike?
No, just old, mate.
I was actually thinking that.
Just we're live streaming, just saying. Snap the tendon that connects the bicep to the forearm. You're on mute, my friend.
Is that better?
Good morning, councillors, staff, members of the public. Welcome to this council meeting 22/3. We have apology for lateness from Mr. Daly, or Councillor Daly. We have Councillor Marsh and Gray by Zoom and the Chief Executive by Zoom. Can I have a mover and a seconder for Councillor Daly, please? Granger Denyer, I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, no, carried. Are there any conflicts of interest that anybody may have with today? There appears to be not. We have one late item, which is the minutes of the annual plan and long-term plan committee meeting. Can I have a mover and a seconder to accept that, please? Councillor Murray-Bench, Councillor Scrimgeour, I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, no. I declare that carried. I remind you all we're on Zoom, so anything, and being recorded, so anything that's said, you have to take responsibility for it. If you tend to upset anybody, there is no indemnification for that. We now call on Chris to give us a karakia to open the meeting, please.
Tēnā koe te koromatua. Kei noi tātou. He honore he kororia ki te atua, he maungarongo ki te whenua, he whakaro pai ki ngā tāngata katoa. E pā tēnei mātou e koropiko nei mua i tō aroaro, a me tēnoi atu ki a koe ki a tau o manakitanga ki runga ki tēnei huihuinga o tātou. A whina mai tātou i runga i ngā kōrero kei mua i te aroaro. Anō hoki te whakaro ki a rātou e noho māwiwi ana, e noho rawakore ana, rātua noho ki e noho ana i raro i te kapua pauri, a kia piki te kaha te ora te māramatanga ki runga ki a rātou. Ko koe te timatanga te otinga o ngā mea katoa, kororia ki tō ingoa tapu, āmene.
Kia ora, thank you, Chris. We have a request for presentation in the public forum, and David from GDC Landscapes is going to give us an update on the Tiranga project. David, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak to you. I probably don't need a microphone.
You will set it the Zoom.
Oh, of course. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll leave it on if it's okay. I ain't had COVID yet, trying to avoid it. I've been asked to fill in for Buddy McCarty. Buddy unfortunately couldn't make it today. Buddy and I have been working together on behalf of Ngāi Waihi for quite a few years on trying to get this project to fruition. For those of you that don't know it, it is the parcel of land on the corner of Joyce Road and what is Pies Pa Road. It is at the northern end of it. For many years, it has just been a paddock that has been mowed. There it is there. And the site that we're talking about is all that grass area there and down through into that bottom of the escarpment, up through around there, comes into there like that. This was an old house site and that's been demolished, and this parcel of land adjoins onto the bottom of the gully, which is Merrick's farm as well. So The site is very significant. Everybody thinks of Gate Pa Pukekinahina, but this is where effectively the Tauranga Wars ended in this little piece of land here. A lot of sadness, a lot of, I won't tell you history lesson, but for most Tauranga people, they're not aware of its significance. There's been extensive work done in terms of archaeological work. There is an old trench site around about here. In there, and there is the little monument memorial there, and there are some graves there on site. Anyhow, moving forward, what we are looking at is a recognition of the site and turning the site into more of a historic significance. And there's been a lot of work discussed over there. Every year there are commemorations on June the 21st. As the community has grown around the area, the schools have become involved and are very keen to continue their involvement. Way back in about 2000, about 9 years ago, we did the planting in the gully with whānau from Ngāi Tamarawāhu, and we set up doing the first planting there. There it is there. That's now all substantially grown up. In essence, what we're looking at is this open paddock. This was one of the first little designs done, and this open paddock remaining. But there is a massive problem with noise. So whenever anything happens down in this area, it is very hard to have any form of pulpity speaking because of the traffic. So the first stage of the development, which is going to start next Monday, is the formation of an earth bund down this side of the road, which will then be planted, and ultimately we'll have a noise fence put on top of it, so that when there are commemorations, when people are in here, there is a sense of enclosure and some softening of noise. There's been various starts on the project, services moving forward, different concepts, but in essence, what we're looking at in time is creating a car park. This parcel of land here will possibly become a urapa for Ngāi Tamarawāhu, because they are lacking space to continue there. And this is the more commemorative areas here. Several designs of sort of concepts have come to play, all of them involving open space, involving public usage, and recognising keeping the site very open up at the top to retain that lovely feeling of openness there through it. So moving forward from here, there's been several councils, local authorities involved have contributed. It's taken a long time to start getting funding together. Regional council have been approached in terms of funding for planting. We have funding coming through Western Bay District Council. We have funding coming from Tauranga City Council. This year, the priorities are the formation of the bund. It is also the planting of the bund. It is also the clearing and planting of the escarpment, which will take place on the weekend before the 21st of June as a public and whānau planting day. There have been lots of community groups putting their hands up wanting to come be part of that, and we will also plant the escarpment. We're also having conversations with getting an initial design done on the car park to try and get the car park put in place as well. So the project really is just finally going to start getting off the ground. A lot's going to happen, and it will develop and grow, and is a wonderful partnership. There's also a great opportunity to link it with the bottom area of land. There is a wetland down there. The grazing lease on that parcel of land is only month by month. It's going to require a strong commitment of all people involved to try and retain as much reserve area as possible, given the pressure now on councils to find land for housing. So when we started this project, it was effectively in a rural area on the outskirts of town. The urbanisation of the city is spread around it with now substantial growth. It is an opportunity, because of the topography of the land, historic nature, to retain an area of reserve and open space in what will ultimately become quite an urbanised area. So, any questions?
Are there any questions? Mark, and then
David,
Who owns that bit in the bottom there, adjacent to this site?
I believe it's under Tauranga City Council ownership.
Okay.
Councillor Murray Binge.
Is it your desire to have some housing up there as well?
I don't have a desire.
No.
Sorry, a personal opinion on that. I have no, in terms of the reserve, no, the reserve, it wants to be retained as exactly as it is a historic reserve and treated with the respect and significance that it should be treated with.
Right, David, there appears to be no further questions. I think it's rather poignant, your presentation today, because this is reflection of something that happened 160 or so years ago, but unfortunately is being currently replayed almost by the theme in Ukraine right now.
Absolutely.
And, so I think it must remain as a sacred place, and the last thing to have is covered with houses.
Yes.
So thanks for coming in. We wish you all the best for the project, and we recognise that we are a contributor to it because it's part of our rohi as well.
Yes, and on behalf of Ngāi Taumata Wahō, thank you for your contribution. Well received.
Thank you very much.
Hey, kuna.
Right, councillors, we now move to the agenda proper, and pages 8 to 58. Can I have a mover for all of those community boards minutes, please? Councillor Henry, Councillor Denia, I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, no. I declare that carried. We now move to page 57, which is the audit and risk minutes from 15th of March. Councillor Denia, Councillor Granger, I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, no. I declare that carried. We now move to page 67, which is the minutes of the performance and monitoring meeting on the 31st of March. And move in a second, please. Councillor Thwaites, Councillor Sol, I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, no. I declare that carried. We now move to page 76, which is the Caddy Waihi Beach Ward Forum. The movement on the 1st of March, Councillor Denia, Councillor Henry, I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Councillor Sol, I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, no. Got that little change. Thank you. We now move to page 86, which is the Kaimai Ward Forum. I'll move in a second for that, please. Councillor Dean and Councillor Granger, I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, no. I declare that carried. We now move to page 94, which is the minutes of the Policy Committee. I'll move that. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Scrimger, I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, no. I declare that carried. We now move to page 98, which is the District Plan Committee meeting of the 5th of April. I'll move in a second to Councillor Scrimger, Murray Binge. I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, no. I declare that carried. We now move to page 102, which is the minutes of the council meeting held on the 6th of April. I'll move that. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Henry, I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. We now move to the late item, which was introduced before, which is the minutes of the annual plan and long-term plan committee meeting. I'll move it. Councillor Scrimger, Councillor Denia, I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, no. I declare that carried. We now move to page 119, which is the minutes of Te Iho o Te Waka o Te Aroa meeting. I'll move in a second. You weren't there, unfortunately. Thank you, Councillor Daly. Councillor Scrimger, I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, no. I declare that carried. We now move to page 127, which is the Te Kahui Mana Whenua o Tauranga Moana meeting. Move in a second. Councillor Granger, Councillor Dean, I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, no. I declare that carried. We now move to a report on page 138, which is the stormwater easement. Are there any questions? Councillor Dean.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question, or several questions about this. This was actually done as a project in 2019. This was done as a project in 2019 for the neighbouring section. And I wonder why it was not included, why we have to have a separate easement for the next door section when there's already an easement in place. That's my first question.
Mr. Ellis?
So the next door sections, water goes through that property, the first property with the easement. It passes across the public walkway, so it requires an easement across the public walkway. And then there's an easement over the original section for the conveyance of the water, and then that has to go through to the easement down to the coast. So there's been a timing question of when all the easements put in place. All the physical works are done, it's just the easement comes afterwards.
Why then is the easement over our land and not from the neighbouring section into the neighbouring property's land?
It is.
Use the same common facility, infrastructure.
It goes from, let's say, the upstream property. So the last property,
69 and 71.
Yeah.
Yep.
Starts off at one, goes through the second.
Goes through one,
Throughout.
so it goes across the reserve, across the walkway.
Mm.
So we have to have an easement across the walkway. Then there's an easement over the sections, which then joins into the common easement that goes down to the coast. So the one that goes over the Esplanade Reserve is a common easement, to stormwater easement, but it takes water from the two properties.
Okay, my second question is, why was this actually planned this way? Because one section in either direction, we have stormwater pipes already in the ground. And it could have been far easier to connect to that rather than go over our reserve area.
So this would go back probably 10 years. So when the stormwater was put in place in Omokoroa, it didn't connect these two properties. So they had already had an outlet to the coast at that point. While it might not have had an easement in place, it still had an outlet. So the stormwater system was never extended through to these two properties. In this case, it's gone from these two properties down to the coast. We have quite a number of easements that go across our Esplanade reserves to the coast.
And third question is, in the report, it says the words potential wastewater. Surely we're not going to allow wastewater to go over our reserve and into the harbour.
Definitely not putting wastewater into the harbour. So that's never a question. We also have easements across our reserves for wastewater lines. So it formalises when a wastewater line goes across the reserve from point A to point B, we put an easement in place to protect the right to convey wastewater across the reserve. But it's a transmission line, so it's always just from one point to the next, to another manhole, for example, or to a pump station. So they're often at the lowest point. The pump station's at the lowest point, and often the lowest points may well be on our reserves.
There any other? Sorry, the paper on the local alcohol policy. Are there any questions of staff? There, oh.
I just want to ask, was there any delay, was there any misunderstanding with the notification, or this was always going to be the process and the operational period, the operational date when it comes into effect? Because it seems like it could have possibly come into effect a bit sooner.
The sorry follows due process. It has to go through the committee, then it comes up to council. So we couldn't bring a special council meeting forward to make this. So we just followed due process.
So through your worship, there's also legislative requirements that we have to, because we're changing hours of operating, we have to give those operators due notice. So we have to give them 3 months because it impacts their business. So we follow the legislation, we have to give them 3 months. And we issue the public notice once we set the date through this council meeting.
There doesn't appear to be any other questions. There's recommendations 1 to 3 there. Move in a second. Councillor Henry, Councillor Murray Benj. Yes, certainly.
I'd like to thank the staff for the hard work they've done on this policy, and delighted because when we did it last time, the police in Te Puke only wanted a small area, and are delighted to see that actually we've made some common sense decisions, sir. And I think Te Puke people will be very pleased with this policy. So just wanted to say that and remind everybody that we did what we were guided to do, and this has just got better.
Thank you. So I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, no. I declare that carried. Could somebody move us into confidential now, please?
I'm sorry, we have the recommendatory report.
Oh, sorry, I've got myself. There's the recommendatory report for the annual plan, long-term plan, which Councillor Henry, Councillor Scrimger. I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, no. We now move into confidential. Councillor Dean, Councillor Granger. I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, no.